Mate, it's 9 AM. So I watched a really weird movie last night. Really? Which one? Hazza Potto and the Big Dick Swallows. That doesn't sound right at all. Yeah, it was really gross. Hermione, she had like purple hair, and there were a bunch of tentacles trying to Wingardium Leviosa up her golden snatch. Are you sure you didn't download the wrong movie again? Yeah, I think I did. Oh, I don't even want to know what you Googled to find that movie. Yeah, my browser history is an absolute wasteland. Anyways, I did watch the actual movie too. Tell me about that one, and let's forget that this ever happened. Deal. So the movie starts with a close-up on somebody's eyes. Whose eyes are they? Will you shut up? I'm getting to that, you bloody pelican. Calm down, mate. So then we pan out, and it's none other than Rufus Scrimgeour. Am I supposed to know who that is? Well, he's the new tough and no-nonsense Minister for Magic, isn't he? But his name's Rufus. No one's going to be intimidated by that. Yeah, you're not wrong. He dies really quickly too, and I mean like so quickly that I don't even know why they have him in this movie at all. So we're already off to a fantastic start. What happens next? Well, he's gathered the press inside the Ministry of Sound, and he's talking about how he's not going to give in to those pesky Dick Eaters anymore. Death Eaters. Yeah, that's the one. Also, isn't this the second Harry Potter movie in a row to start with a press conference? They really need to find a more exciting way to start the bloody story. This is literally the exact same place as the last one, so the writers, they're just really taking the piss at this point. Okay, well then let's get past this scene already before I blow my brains out. Okay, psycho. Anyways, his whole speech is about how the Ministry remains strong, even though they fucked up big time for not agreeing with old mate Dumbo that leukemia and his Dick Eaters are finally back. Yeah, that was a rookie mistake. Also, everyone in the crowd is kind of laughing at him for his silly name. That's fair enough. So next we get a little montage to get us up to speed with where our main characters are after the events of the last film. 1 minute in and we're already getting a montage. That's a bold strategy. It sure is. So Hermione, she's reading newspapers about how the Dark Mark is being shown all around town. And she's concerned because ever since David Yates took over directing this franchise, a shocking amount of exposition is told through newspaper clippings. Yeah, that's so true. Why does that guy like newspapers so much? I don't know, maybe Rupert Murdoch financed this film or something. Yeah, you could be right. Anyways, then she goes into the lounge room where she wipes her parents' memories like they're just a bunch of blank CDs from the early 2000s that I used to store all my LimeWire porn on. Gross. Also, why the hell is she wiping her parents' memories? I mean, in the books, it's to try and protect her parents in case they're captured and tortured by the Dick Eaters, but in the film she just kind of does it for no reason, which makes her look like a full-on psycho if you ask me. Yeah, it sure does. Anyways, then we cut to Hazza, and he's standing in his old room in Privet Drive watching the Dursleys pack up their shit and leave. Sounds like he's finally tired of putting up with their shit. It's super unclear. See, in the books he's actually trying to protect them, even though they're massive sweaty c***s. And in the movie? Well, in the movie we're given no context at all, and it kind of just looks like he's threatened them to leave, which also makes Hazza look like a full-blown psycho as well. Yeah, true. I guess they did kind of psychologically torture him for about 17 years though. I guess so. And what about Ron? I bet he's up to something interesting too. Nah, mate, he's just standing in a field looking at some wheat. He's a useless character, isn't he? He sure is, mate. And then, like we've actually seen a really exciting cold open, we get the title screen. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Part 1. Hang on, part 1? Yeah, they split this movie into 2 parts. Not really for thematic or story reasons, just to make sure that the Warner Brothers executives could afford coke and meth for their spoiled kids' 18th birthday parties. Ah, yeah, that makes sense. I always forget about the money. Oh, but don't you worry, this movie is way better than Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1 and Mockingjay Part 1, because those movies suck sweaty balls. Well, that's a relief. But if I'm being honest, a lot of this movie is pretty boring. So anyways, next up we see one of the Dick Eaters apparating. He's flying as a black cloud across some treetops where he finally arrives and materializes out the front of Malfoy bloody Manor. Why is it that when Death Eaters apparate, they turn into weird black cloud things? No clue, mate. Isn't apparating supposed to be like instantaneous? Looks like it'd be way faster just to walk sometimes. Yeah, you're not wrong. It was some sort of weird stylistic choice by the director of The Goblet of Fire, so now the other directors kind of just have to roll with it like it's canon. Kind of like how J.J. Abrams had to try and salvage The Rise of Skywalker after Rian Johnson shat all over his plans and Colin Trevorrow backed out so he could make a couple of terrible Jurassic World films. Yeah, exactly, mate. Anyways, it turns out this Dick Eater, well, it's only bloody Severus Simp, isn't it? Oh, shit. What's he doing there? Well, it turns out that this is the new headquarters of the Dick Eaters, isn't it? And Voldemort, he's like,
"Greetings, everyone. I know a lot of organizations like to use Microsoft Teams to do their meetings. Let's just say I know I'm evil, but I'm not that evil to subject you all to that."
Well, that's nice of him. I know, right? Then he's like,
"Now, first order of business. If you have lost your Death Eater's lanyards, you can apply for a new one with Tanya down at reception. We only have limited parking spaces here at Malfoy Manor, and if you don't have a lanyard, then you don't get a parking spot.
Oh, no fair.
Oh, shut up, Yaxley. You don't even have a car. Don't think we all haven't seen you riding one of those lime scooters to work every day, you loser.
I lost my license.
Yes, well, you drive like you live in downtown Bangladesh, so I'm not surprised.
That's a bit racist. Yeah, that's true, but he's a wizard Nazi, so I guess it's kind of on brand for him. Good point. Oh yeah, and get this, he's got some woman bound and gagged floating above the table while they talk. Oh, okay, so this is like a Jeffrey Epstein style meeting. Yeah, it looks that way, mate, because then he asks Lucius Malfoy if he can stroke his hard wand, doesn't he? Really? Then he just bloody snaps it in half. Oh, Jesus Christ, that would really hurt. Nah, his wand, mate, not his cock. Oh, right. See, it turns out that he's got them all there to figure out what the Order of the Three Dicks plans to do with Potter. Apparently he's being hidden somewhere and they plan to move him to a secret location soon so Voldemort can't bloody find him. Why didn't they just check the Dursleys' house where he always is? Yeah, good point. I think because of DEI hiring policies, Voldemort had to hire a few people who were pretty far on the end of the spectrum. Ah, I see. Anyways, the Dick Eaters are spewing that Snape is late to the meeting, right? And they're all trying to gobble old Voldy's balls by telling him they know the real plan to move Potter. But Snape, he's like,
piss off all of you. I know where Potter is going to be moved. I have done my own research.
Which, as you know, is something people say when they've done no research at all. Yeah, that's true. Anyways, then Voldemort kills the woman above the table and he feeds her to his pet snake. Holy shit. That meeting took a really sharp right turn, didn't it? Yeah, I know, right? But apparently her name is Charity Burbage. And besides from having a clearly made up name, she used to teach Muggle studies at Hoggies. And Tom Riddle, he was given an F in that class when he was a kid, so he's decided to bloody kill her. That's a bit harsh. She wouldn't have even been the same teacher that gave him that bloody grade. Yeah, true, but remember how Voldemort has leukemia? So it's slowly eating away at his brain and his cognitive functions. Ah, yeah, I forgot about that. Anyways, we cut to Hazza, who's still having a whinge and reminiscing about Dumbledore's death. Not sure you meant to use the word reminisce there, mate. I think you mean remember. Shut up. Anyways, what's even weirder is that he's still standing by his window at Privet Drive. Except now it's nighttime. Why is that weird? Well, apparently Hazza just goes full NPC when he's not on camera, so he just stood there for like 12 hours without moving. You're right. That is weird. Yeah, anyways, get this. He's packing his bloody bags too, isn't he? And he's looking at a jagged piece of glass, like he's about to raise the statistics of knife crime in the UK a few percentages higher than they already are. That's a pretty dark joke, mate. Also, what's with the glass? Well, in the books, it's supposed to be a shard of SiriusBlack.com's two-way magic mirror, which was a present from Sirius and a painful reminder to Harry what he bloody lost. I see. And in the movie? Well, in the movie, he's just holding a random piece of glass that they totally forgot to set up in the last film, even though it plays a major part in the climax later on. So the writers just went out for coffee that day thinking, hey, we'll just solve this problem later. Exactly, mate. Also, why the hell did they risk their lives to talk to Sirius in Umbridge's fireplace if they could have just used that? Because Hazza once had sex with a back alley prostitute without a condom, and now he has syphilis eating away at his brainstem. Gross. Anyways, then Hazza starts looking at the mysterious note with the initials RAB that he found in the fake Horcrux. Oh, you mean the initials that clearly spell Regulus Arcturus Black, who is literally the only Harry Potter character we know with those initials. Spoilers, mate. But you're right, it's totally him. Anyways, Hazza starts walking around the empty house, thinking about how much he's changed since the first film, and how only one of his testicles seems to have descended. Really? Which one? I think it's the right one. Anyways, he goes to the cupboard under the stairs where the Dursleys used to lock him up, and he fondly starts remembering all the times that he cranked off in there. Gross. Also, you could have actually used the word reminisce there instead of remember. Will you shut up, you bloody grammar Nazi? I never really got that term. Why grammar Nazi? Were the Nazis like really strict about language or something? Yeah, they were like,
let me see your papers. 9. This is supposed to be a semicolon. Off to the gas chambers.
That was a terrible German accent. Yeah, I got a little bit French there, I think. Anyways, Hazza, he's just about to whip out his cock and rub one out for old time's sake when he hears a bloody knock at the door, doesn't he? And you'll never guess who's bloody there. Rolf Harris? Americans aren't going to get that reference, mate. Sure they will. Everyone remembers that song, Tie Me Kangaroo Down, Sport. The only kangaroos he was tying down was little kids' cocks. That doesn't even make sense. I'm just saying he was a dirty old bastard and I'm glad he's dead. Anyways, you, it's not Rolf Harris. So get this. As soon as he opens the door, Hermo launches on him and gives him a big old bloody hug. What's with Hermione just standing behind closed doors waiting to launch on Hazza? Sure, it's becoming a bit of a weird trope at this stage. Anyway, she's not alone, is she? She's only there with the entirety of the Order of the Three Dicks. Oh, interesting. What are they doing there? Well, remember how the Dick Eaters were trying to figure out what the plan was to move Hazza? You mean the meeting that could have literally just been an email saying, let's get that specky twat at Privet Drive, because that's where he always is. Yeah, exactly. Anyways, bloody everyone is there, aren't they? Mad Eye Moody, Lupin, Tonks, Ronno, Freddo, Giorgio, and some bloody other bloke called Mundungus who looks dodgy and he'll surely betray them later on in the film. But then get this. General Hux comes in, doesn't he? He's only bloody Ronno's older brother we haven't met yet. Why are they introducing him now? Is he important to the plot? Nah, not at all. But he makes the whole scene super awkward when he reveals that he's banging Fleur Delacour. Who's that? Remember that hot chick from Boobyton in the 4th movie? Ah, yeah, you mean that incredibly underage French chick? Nah, mate, she was played by a 22-year-old actress, so it's all totally fine, trust me. I don't know, mate, I'm still sus on you for making that comment. Anyways, no one believes that the ginger-pubed twat from the worst Star Wars film in the worst Star Wars trilogy has somehow managed to bang the hottest chick from Boobyton, so everyone just starts laughing at him, don't they? I'm so confused why this is even happening right now. Anyways, he gets so sick of everyone making fun of him that he just kind of fades into the background. And then Mad Eye Moody chimes in with his big plan to help Hazza evade capture from Voldemort and his sweaty Dick Eaters. Mad Eye is supposed to be one of the best auras to have ever lived. I bet you he's come up with an amazing and intricate plan. Yeah, you might want to lower those expectations, mate. Alright, what's his plan then? Well, he just makes everyone take Polyjuice Potion to make them look like Hazza. Okay. Why? Well, so get this. Hazza, he's still got the trace on him. The trace? Well, all underage wizards have it, don't they? You see, the Ministry and Jeffrey Epstein put a spell on all underage wizards so that they would know where they are at all times. And then if they misbehave, Epstein can take them to this magical island for punishment where they'll meet various presidents from the United States of America. There's no way Jeffrey Epstein worked for the Ministry of Magic. Well, no, he didn't, but it's heavily implied that he did. Anyways, they all take Polyjuice Potion and turn into Hazza, don't they? Wouldn't this plan just put more people in danger though? Surely it would be easier just to protect and hide one person. Well, that's exactly what bloody Hazza says. Okay, I'm thinking there has to be more to this plan. Mad Eye is not that stupid, right? I got it. So they're all gonna go in different directions to confuse the Death Eaters so that they can't figure out where they're taking him. No, mate, they're going to the same place. Duh. Then what's the point in making them all look like Hazza? Yeah, no idea. I'm pretty sure Mad Eye was up all night drinking and he came up with his plan on the car ride here. So anyways, they all get on their brooms and they line up like they're about to start a bloody Mario Kart race or something. Brooms? So they're just gonna fly out in the open. Why can't they do something more covert like apparating or taking the flu network or a bloody port key? Yeah, it's never explained, mate. This plan is absolutely shithouse. It sure is. Well, at least Hazza has that sick firebolt broom, right, that Sirius got him? So he'll be able to escape pretty easily if they do get into trouble? Nah, mate, because Mad Eye Moody's put him in a flimsy sidecar on Hagrid's flying motorbike, hasn't he? Let me get this straight. Rather than giving one of the world's best Quidditch seekers and most experienced flyers in the whole world his signature broom, which, by the way, is one of the fastest brooms you can buy, Mad Eye's plan is to stick him in a sidecar of a much slower flying motorbike flown by one of the most irresponsible teachers at Hogwarts who was expelled for reckless misuse of magic and harbouring illegal goods, who is also half giant and would be a much easier target to hit than a tiny boy on a much faster flying broom. Yeah, that's right. Mad Eye Moody made this plan with ChatGPT, didn't he? Oh, you bloody know it, mate, because as soon as they take off, the Dick Eaters start shooting more green jizz up their asses than Bonnie Blue sees on a Tuesday night. Ghosts. But they get away, right, because Hazza has plot armor and he can't die. Yeah, you're right, he can't. So he totally gets away. But not before bloody Hedwig takes some thick green jizz to the face and bloody dies. Not Hedwig. I know, right? The whole plan is a complete shit show. Hedwig dies, Hazza loses his firebolt out of the side of Hagrid's shitty flying motorbike, and half of the people are lost and presumed dead. So Mad Eye Moody, he was working for the Death Eaters, yeah? Because this plan feels like it was custom made to give the Order of the Phoenix the biggest disadvantage possible. Nah, mate, but remember Mundungus? Who? You know, the dodgy looking bloke we've never heard of before and he looked like he was totally going to betray them? Oh yeah. Who even invited him? No idea. Anyways, he's betrayed him and he legged it as soon as Voldemort rocked up. So now Mad Eye's bloody dead too. That plan went worse than Joe Biden's withdrawal from Afghanistan. I thought you said we don't do politics on this channel. Oh yeah, sorry. Anyways, it sure did. And get this, when old mate Voldy rocks up, he starts flying after Hazard like he's James Gunn's Superman who's jacked up on bloody cocaine. Okay, since when can he fly? Since now, mate. And get this, when he tries to fire some green jizz all over Hazard's face. Come on, will you stop with the green jizz, mate? His bloody wand explodes and then he gets tangled in some low-hanging power lines and then he gets bloody electrocuted. Wait, what? Yeah, I know, mate, it makes no sense and it all happens so fast. The movie just kind of expects you to totally roll with it. I'm still trying to figure out how Voldemort can fly now. Shut up, we're way past that, mate. Anyways, after this absolute shit show of a plan, Hazard and Hagrid crash land right outside the burrow, where they plan to meet all the others. This plan just got even worse. Mad Eye's big plan was to take them to the burrow, a place Harry Potter is known to visit regularly, a place the Death Eaters know the location of, and literally attacked in the last film. Yeah, that's right, for fuck's sake. Okay, let's just move past this because I'm getting way too upset and the doctor says I have high blood pressure. Fair enough. Anyways, when they get there, Ginny and Molly Weasley run out and start asking where everyone is. And Hazard, he starts shitting himself because he knew this was a terrible plan and now all his friends might be dead. And Molly Weasley, she used to execute people for the state. And so he might be next. I mean, he probably should have put up more of a fight to change that plan though. Then he wouldn't have even been in this mess. I thought you weren't going to talk about the plan anymore. No, you're right. Let's move on. Anyways, Lupin rocks up and he's carrying George Weasley. And he looks rough. And let me tell you, his face has more blood on it than a 4-day-old tampon. Gross. What happened to him? Somebody cut his bloody ear off, didn't they? Ouch. Sounds like the Death Eaters have been watching Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, maybe. So then Lupin, he starts freaking out, doesn't he? And he slams Hazard up against the wall like he's in a Rocco Siffredi porno or something. And he's like,
"What creature sat in the corner the first time Harry Potter visited my office in Hogwarts?"
"What are you on about, Lupin? Are you smoking gillyweed again?"
"Tell me, you specky twat!"
What the hell's Lupin's problem? Well, he's figured out that they've been betrayed, so he wants Hazard to prove that he's actually who he says he is. Well, why does he only check Hazard's identity then? That seems like a bit of an oversight. He's definitely been puffing on the gillyweed to try and calm his anxiety like he's bloody Pedro Pascal or something. Anyways, then Kingsley Shacklebolt, Hermo and Freddo rock up. So Lupin, he starts grilling Kingsley too.
"What were the last words that Albus Dumbledore said to both of us?"
He said that Harry is a little but he's also our only hope.
So Lupin is suspicious of Hazard and the only black guy. Seems a little bit racist. Oh, it's massively racist, but Lupin, he realises he's in the wrong. So he tries to smooth things over by giving Kingsley one of those ghetto-style handshakes, and he totally fucks it up. He's just making it even worse. Yeah, you better believe it. Anyways, Billo and Fleuro, they arrive on a bloody Thestral. I'm not really sure why they thought that would be faster than a broom. And then Bill's like,
"Sorry we're late. We stopped to have sex. Fleur, she can't get enough of me, can she?"
Why is he still trying to prove that to everyone? Yeah, mate, it's super sad at this point. You can tell that Fleur's really regretting her decision to be with him as well. She kind of has that same look in her eye that a middle-class housewife has when they wake up after 10 years of having kids and they realise that they don't like the guy that they're married to and that they actually peaked in high school. That is so specific. Anyways, now everyone is gathered around George, who's passed out on the casting couch. Why is he passed out? He just lost an ear. Yeah, he's been a little bitch about it for sure. And what's even weirder is everyone is super devastated about his ear, even though he literally learned that other characters might have died. Seems a little disrespectful, actually. I know, right? Anyways, Giorgio, he finally wakes up and he tells a joke so that it makes Bella from Twilight look like a stand-up bloody comedian.
How are you feeling, Georgie?
Saint-like.
Come again?
I'm holy, Fred. You get it?
You serious?
Jesus Christ, that was terrible. Yeah, let's move on from that one real swiftly. Anyways, then we cut to Hazard in his bed and he's tossing and turning in his sleep. He's tossing off in his sleep. No, mate, he's tossing and turning, you know? Oh. Yeah, apparently they had to cut out the tossing scene. It went for over an hour and it didn't play well in test screenings. Doesn't really have anything to do with the plot either, does it? True. Anyways, he's having more of his weird nightmare visions, isn't he? He sees a bunch of Horcruxes, then Dumbledore falling from a tower, and then he sees Voldemort torturing Ollivander, the Wand Maker. Yeah, that's the one. Didn't they kidnap him all the way back at the start of the last film? Why is he only torturing him now? Yeah, I know. Anyways, Voldemort, he's pissed, right? Because this wand story makes much more sense in the books. But in the movies, it barely gets any screen time at all. Yeah, I still don't have any idea why he's torturing him at all. Well, you see, in the books, it's because Hazard and his wands are linked. It's a clever tie back to the first book where both his and Voldemort's wands contain feathers from the same bloody phoenix. Ah, that's cool that it ties all the way back to the first book like that. And what about in the movies? How do they handle it? Well, in the movie, we get a series of disorienting dream sequences about wands that don't really make any sense if you haven't read the books. How much did these writers get paid to adapt this? Oh, they got shitloads, mate. More than people who ruin their bodies doing actual manual labour for a living, that's for sure. No wonder Hollywood is dying. You're telling me, mate. Anyways, Hazza wakes up clutching his scar, realising that he's had another bloody vision. You mean the same visions that Dumbledore tried to have Snape train him to stop having for the entirety of the last film? Yeah, exactly, those ones. Anyways, Hazza goes full emo. So he packs up his bags and he tries to leave in the middle of the night. And then he yells at Molly Weasley, saying that it's not just a phase, Mom. Why? No idea, but Ronno stops him and he's like, "Oi, Harry, where you going, you specky little twat?" "I'm not going to let anyone else die for me, Ron. I have to find those Horcruxes." "Listen, mate, it's not your fault. It was Mad Eye Moody's shitty plan. Lupin found crack rocks in his bloody bag. The guy was completely cooked." "Yeah, I guess you're right.
Just stay for the wedding, and then we can go and look for all those bloody Horcruxes, alright, mate?"
Hang on, what wedding? Well, apparently General Hux is so upset that no one believes he's banging Fleur Delacour, so he's having this big wedding and plans to show detailed drawings of what sexual positions they do at the ceremony. Surely a wedding is like the last thing they should be doing right now. Yeah, well, that's exactly what Hazza says, mate. Then Ronno, he tries to justify it, but you can tell that he doesn't even really believe it himself. Anyways, he convinces Hazza to stay. So Hazza throws his bag on the ground and then he makes Ronno pick it up like he's his bloody servant or something. It seems a bit out of pocket. Yeah, I think that Hazza just wanted to remind him that he's poor. Remember? Because J.K. Rowling hates poor people. It's a callback to one of the first videos. Anyways, we cut to the next day and it's the day of the big bloody wedding, isn't it? And old mate Arthur, he's got everyone outside helping him raise a tent with his wand. And no, I'm not talking about cracking a boner in his middle-aged pants. Yeah, gross. Why doesn't just one person raise the tent with magic? Why does he need all the other people? Yeah, good point. I guess Arthur is one of those old school boomer dads who likes to keep his kids busy with pointless manual jobs because he says it builds character or something like that. Sounds a bit like my dad. Yeah, I know, that's why I said it. Anyways, we cut inside and Hazza's reading a newspaper. Remember, because this director really loves bloody offloading exposition to newspapers, and he sees that none other than Rita Skeeter has written a hit piece about Dumbo, and she's threatening to air all of his dirty laundry in an upcoming book. Is this the same reporter that Hermione turned into a bug and then tortured for half of the school year by keeping her in a small jar with one air hole? Yeah, that's the one. Anyways, Ginny comes in a low-cut dress and she asks Hazza to zip her up. But because he's an inexperienced virgin and he's never really touched a woman, he kind of jizzes up her back and ruins her dress, so he tells her to just tell everyone that it's like Greek yogurt stains or something. Gross. Yeah, but what's even weirder is George is just watching them make out like this is his own personal version of stepsister stuck porn or something like that. That's really messed up. Oh, you're telling me, mate, but get this. Right before Ginny can put on exercise pants and get her head stuck in the dishwasher, you'll never guess who rocks up to the bloody burrow. How many times are we going to do this same bit, mate? Mate, have you seen our videos before? We milk jokes more than gooners milk their tiny limp cocks every day. Gross. So who is it then? Rufus bloody Scrimger. Snap, so does he want Hazza and the gang to work with the Ministry against the Death Eaters as spies or something like that? This movie's getting pretty sick. Nah, mate, that would have made way more sense though. Nah, it turns out that the old bastard has a copy of Dumbo's will. Not really sure why he just has a copy of it on hand like that. Like does he just carry it around with him at all times or what? Yeah, that raises way too many questions. Anyways, what's even weirder is that old mate Dumbo's actually left some stuff in his will to Hazza, Hermo and Ronno. So he left all his personal belongings to 3 kids he barely talks to. Yeah, it looks that way. Fair enough then. What did he leave them? Well, get this. Remember that weird thing Dumbo used to black out all the street lights in the first movie? Not really. Well, he leaves Ronno that, doesn't he? Why? No idea. I didn't even really think he liked Ronno, to be honest. Anyways, then he leaves Hermo a copy of an old children's book called The Tales of Beedle the Bard. So Ron gets a cool device that removes all light from the room and she gets a shitty old book. Yeah, maybe Dumbo didn't like her very much either. Anyways, then we get to Hazza and he gives him the golden snitch that he caught in his very first Quidditch game. Ah, I get it now. This is another one of Dumbledore's weird chuffhead plans, isn't it? Yeah, exactly, mate. A plan that if he just told Hazza what he actually needed to do directly, the movie would only be about 10 minutes long. Great. How long is this film again? 2.5 hours. Jesus Christ. All right then, hurry up. We're only 30 minutes into this thing. We better bloody pick up the pace. Yeah, good point. So before Scrimgeour leaves, he says that Dumbo left Hazza one other thing. The Sword of Godric Gryffindor. Now we're talking. He could cut Voldemort's blue dick right off with that thing. Yeah, but don't get too excited because then Scrimgeour says,
"Well, you can't have that, because some bellend went and bloody stole it, didn't they? And I wouldn't give it to you anyway, because it wasn't Dumbledore's to give away."
Then why would you even mention it?
Look, I'm just reading off the bloody script like you are, Daniel, I mean Harry. Oh, and one more thing, Potter.
What's that?
I don't know what you're up to, but you can't fight this war on your own. He's too strong. You lose, and when you die, you'll shit your pants. Did you know that's a thing?
Yes, I think we've brought it up in like every one of these episodes so far. That wasn't really much of a pep talk. Yeah, I know, right? You'd think that he'd want Hazard to succeed in whatever Dumbo's chuffhead plan was to defeat Voldemort, but I guess not. Anyways, then we cut to the big wedding, which again seems like a massively stupid idea because it's at a place the Death Eaters already know about and literally set on fire in the last movie. Yeah, true, they're kind of just asking to get attacked again, aren't they? Oh, but don't you worry, they have like 2 auras staring up at the sky looking out for Dick Eaters. What if they attack from the ground? Well, then they're completely fucked, aren't they? So does anything important actually happen at this wedding? I kind of get the feeling that it's only been included to pad the runtime so that they can split this book into 2 movies. Well, your feeling is bloody bang on, mate, because then we get these long shots of General Hux and Fleur dancing happily together. Till he makes it weird again, giving this public speech, reminding everyone how he's been up inside her tight French beaver dam. Gross. Then Hazza bumps into Luna Love You Long Time and her dad, Otto Hightower. Isn't that a character from House of the Dragon? Yeah, he is, but I can't actually remember his name in this movie. Fair enough. And the conversation itself is incredibly pointless, but the camera lingers on a strange necklace Luna's dad is wearing around his neck. Oh, I see. Sounds like this necklace is going to become important to the plot later on. Yeah, you better believe it, mate. So anyways, then Hazza doesn't want to join in the dancing because he hates crowds and parties more than I do, so he sits up back next to some old geezer who apparently wrote a niche article in the Daily Prophet to remember Dumbledore, and he decides to talk to him instead. How does he know who he is based off just an article in the paper? Yeah, no idea. He didn't have a picture next to the article or anything, so that's a plot hole. And then he actually reveals to Hazard that he's actually hiding up the back of the party because he's hiding from his kids, who are just waiting for him to die so that they can have his bloody inheritance. Wait, Dumbledore has a brother? Yeah, mate, because J.K. Rowling is already regretting that she killed him off in the last movie, so now she's retconning his entire backstory to include a long-lost brother, so that Dumbo can still be a part of the plot of the final book. Also, he's gay. Okay, well, I hope this is going somewhere good, because so far, this scene, really fucking boring. Well, it kinda does, but to be honest, it takes its sweet ass time getting to it. So get this, some drunk old lady starts butting into the conversation, saying how everything the old geezer wrote in the Prophet was a total bunch of camel shit, which is apparently really smelly because camels eat rocks in order to help them digest their food, and then they have to shit out those rocks as well. Gross. Why do you know so many factoids about feces? No idea. Anyways, this chick gives Hazza a spraying. Literally. She takes a massive piss all over his face. And she starts laughing at him, saying that he barely knew Dumbledore at all. Seems a little bit harsh. I mean, he did barely know him, but still, he's upset, right? Yeah, that old bag is well out of order. And I think her liver is failing as well because that piss looked like it had some blood in it. Come on, man. There is way too much toilet humor in our videos. Yeah, you're probably right. Anyways, then she starts going on about Rita Skeeter's new book and how she managed to get all the dirt from another one of Dumbledore's old friends named Bathilda Bagshot. So this is another person we haven't heard of till right now that's going to become important to the plot later on. Oh, you better believe it, mate. Okay, so what happens next? Well, then the old lady gets so wasted that she shits her pants and her carer has to come in and clean it up. Gross. And you can tell that they're super poor because they don't speak English and they can't even afford any gloves. I thought we were going to stop with the toilet humour. I never agreed to that. But get this, a big blue orb flies into the middle of the wedding and starts speaking in an ominous voice. That's a bit random. What does it say?
The Ministry of Sound has fallen. The Minister for Magic is dead. They are coming. They are coming. They're coming! Oh!
Jeez, you weren't wrong about that Rufus guy not lasting long. I know, right? And they kill him off screen to really rub salt in the wound. Anyways, everyone starts packing their dacks because the bloody dick eaters surround the tent and start setting shit on fire. Oh my god, who could have guessed that that would happen? Right? Maybe they should have had some auras actually watching the ground as well. Or maybe they should have had the wedding in an actually secure location. Or better yet, not at all. Yeah, exactly. Anyways, Hermo, being the VIP as usual, she grabs Hazza and Ronno before they get snatched up by the dick eaters and apparates them to some random street in London. Why is she taking them there? Well, she says it's a place she used to go with her parents back in the day. You mean the very parents that she needlessly tortured by erasing all of their memories? Yeah, those ones. Anyways, they decide to hide in a massively public cafe with big windows where people can easily see in when they walk past. That doesn't sound like a very safe place to hide at all. Nah, mate, it's not, because immediately 2 dick eaters dressed in blue overalls like they're fucking Michael Myers or something come in and start shooting up the place. Why are the Death Eaters dressed like Austin Powers? Ah, mate, bloody Michael Myers, the serial killer. And the movie Baby Driver already made that joke, so shut up. Oh yeah, true, that was a really good scene actually, so what happens? Well, Hazza and Hermo and Ronno go full Conor McGregor on him, don't they? And they knock him the out. And then they get arrested for beating up 3 women and having their publicists cover it up. Hey, allegedly. Oh yeah, good call. Allegedly. Also, why do they only knock them out? Feels like they're only making things harder for themselves down the road when they wake up and surely just come after them again. Yeah, well, that's what Ronno says, doesn't he? He's like,
You know if it was the other way round, these guys would murder us and then make love to our decomposing bodies.
ooh, gross, Ron. I don't think that Death Eaters are into necrophilia, Ron. Well, not all of them anyway.
Come on, Harry. You saw the way he was looking at my sweet, sweet ass.
Ooh, Ronald, stop talking about your ass.
Fine then. Wipe their memories like you did to your parents, you psycho.
I mean, Ron's right though. That was a really crazy thing to do to her own parents. Oh, don't you and I both know it, mate? Anyways, Hermo wipes their minds and then she goes back to her parents' house and wipes them again just for fun. Really? Nah, but it's heavily implied that she does it in between every scene. Jesus, she needs help. Anyways, they bloody leg it out of there and they start trying to figure out how the dick eaters knew where they were hiding. Really? So they didn't think that maybe sitting in a cafe with giant windows while being the 3 most wanted people in London would be a problem? Nah, mate, because they're mental. Anyways, Hermo reckons it was because he still has the trace on him. The trace? What's that? Remember it's how the Ministry of Sound tracks down all underage wizards and how R. Kelly was able to track down and then have with and piss on underage girls? Allegedly. Nah, not allegedly, mate. He was bloody convicted. The guy's a Oh, what the is wrong with rich people, man? Who bloody knows? Apparently after you get a few zeros on your paycheck, you become obsessed with baby oil, islands and piss parties. Either way, Ronno says that Hermo is full of shit because Hazza turned 17 today, which means that he no longer has the trace on him and he's safe from Jeffrey Epstein. So now they have to decide where they're going to head to next. Is it a cafe with even bigger windows? Ah, mate, even worse. Grim old place. Oh, you mean another place they're known to frequent and a place that both Snape and the Death Eaters already know the location of? Yeah, that's the one. Idiots. So get this, a bloody dust ghost version of Dumbledore jump scares them and flies towards them as they enter the bloody house. What the hell? I know, mate, it's super weird. Apparently Mad Eye Moody put it there to mess with Snape-o in case he came back to the house to try and use it as an Airbnb for backpackers. So a dust ghost was going to stop him how? No idea. I feel like a vacuum cleaner might have gotten rid of that. Mad Eye's plans are worse than Dumbledore's. You know what? I'm glad he's dead. Yeah, me too. Anyways, they go inside and decide to get some bloody shut-eye. But Hazza only has another one of his bloody visions, doesn't he? Okay, so what happens this time? More poorly fleshed out sea story? You bloody know it, mate. Voldemort is torturing Ollivander again, isn't he? And yeah, that's it. No new information is actually given. Now, there's so much torture in this film. Did Eli Roth direct this? Nah, mate, I don't think he's done a film since that weird film he did with Keanu Reeves and Ana de Armas, which sounds awesome on paper, but it was actually more painful to watch than those videos online where Shaolin monks get punched in the nuts over and over again. Yeah, those videos are wild, man. I mean, I'm impressed that they've trained themselves not to feel pain, but no wonder monks aren't having any bloody kids. Anyways, Hazza wakes up because Ronno is moaning in his sleep, dreaming about hentai and cosplay girls. So Hazza is so disgusted that he decides to go for a walk in the creepy old house all by himself. That's a terrible idea. Yeah, I know, right? Anyways, he decides to go and rummage around in SiriusBlack.com's old room, doesn't he? And right when he finds an old book written by none other than Batilda Bagshot, Ronno calls out from downstairs saying that he's found something too, but I thought he was asleep. Yeah, so did I. Either they cut a scene out in the edit or the writer had an aneurysm while they were writing. So we cut to Hazza and Hermo talking to Ronno, who's rummaging around in someone else's room, and you'll never guess whose bloody bedroom it is. Shaquille O'Neal? What? Nah, mate, bloody Regulus Arcturus Black. R-A-B. Oh, shit. I mean, we knew that as soon as we saw those initials, but oh, shit. Yeah, I know, mate, but guess what? They hear a bloody noise in the kitchen. Sounds like they're not alone. Okay, now things are getting interesting. Well, lower those expectations, mate, because it's not the bloody dick eaters, who should clearly know where they are. It's not? No, mate, it's bloody Creature, isn't it? Who's that? Remember SiriusBlack.com's house elf? He's kind of like Dobby, but way more racist and hates practically everyone. Oh yeah, that's right. He was a little He sure was, and he comes out of the gate hard this time. He calls Hermo the N-word and then the K-word. I mean, she's not black or Jewish, so I don't know what the hell's wrong with him. Yeah, he's racist, but he doesn't really have good eyesight, so I guess he just sees everyone as fair game. Ah, yeah, fair enough. Anyways, the racist little has only worked for SiriusBlack.com's family for generations, and now Hazza is his owner, isn't he? So now he can pretty much order him to do whatever he wants. Since when did Hazza become his master? Well, in the books, Sirius leaves Hazza all of his belongings after he dies. The house and elf included. I see. Not really sure that being a slave owner is a good look for Harry? Nah, not at all, mate. Okay, so how do we find out in the movie then? Well, in the movie, the writers just kind of expect us to know that, or they forgot that they didn't tell us. Idiots. Anyways, Hazza shows him Regulus's locket, and Creature, the little horny bastard, gets rock hard, saying that he knows exactly what that is. Gross. Then Hazza, he starts grilling him, doesn't he? Where's the locket now, you weird, penis-nosed, racist goblin? Stolen it was, wasn't it? Stolen by who? Bloody Mundungus, the guy who was clearly dodgy from the start. Ah, I was wondering if he'd become relevant again. Well, your wait is over, you impatient, weird-looking bastard. Hey, so Hazza, he orders Creature to go and find Mundungus, doesn't he? Sounds like Hazza's gotten comfy with being a slave owner real quick. He sure has, mate. Hermo even finds some blueprints for a railroad he plans to build in his back pocket once he's got a few more slaves. Anyways, speaking of railroads that were built by slaves, we cut to the Hoggies Express, don't we? And we see one of those dick-eaters try and stop the train like he's using the Force, and he's forgotten what franchise he's actually in. Well, that's weird. Why does he do that? Well, they're looking for bloody Hazza, aren't they? So him and his dick-eater mates, they get on board and start questioning the kids where he is. But old mate Neville chirps up, and he calls him a loser. And then he gives him an atomic wedgie in front of all the kids. Snap, Neville Longbottom has grown some balls. Yeah, mate, some really long ones that scrape the ground when he walks. So then all the kids on the train laugh at the dick-eater. So he totally buckles under peer pressure and bloody legs it. Nice. Then next up we see that the Ministry of Sound has a new Minister for Magic. Didn't we start the movie with a new minister though? How many more are they going to be? I don't know, like 1,000? Jesus. Anyways, apparently this one wasn't important enough to be given a name, but it's only one of bloody Voldemort's goons from that meeting at the start of the movie. Oh crap, so you're telling me no one is suspicious of this? Nah mate, because I read this psychological study where apparently 40% of people will just go along with whatever is popular, which kind of explains groupthink and how the Nazis were able to gain power so quickly. That sounds like a massive oversimplification to me. Anyways, get this. None other than Dolores bloody Cuntbridge is his right-hand man. Don't you mean right-hand woman? I meant what I said. Fair enough. Anyways, they're all printing out newspapers, aren't they? Because we haven't had enough of them already. And all the papers say that Hazza Potto is now the most wanted criminal in all of the wizarding world. Surely this raises some eyebrows, right? The last movie started with Hazza and Dumbo talking at a press conference proving that Voldemort was back. Even old mate Fudgepacker had to admit it. Hazza would surely be a hero in the eyes of the public now, right? Yeah, mate, but like I said, 40% of the population are either lemmings or NPCs because everyone bloody laps it up, don't they? Yeah, maybe you're onto something. That might explain how the band Nickelback got so popular. Anyways, we cut back to Hazza and Hermo, who are listening to that old-fashioned radio to pass the time, even though much better entertainment exists like magic, phones, and televisions. And get this, bloody Creature brings back Mundungus. Ah, nice. But he didn't nab him alone, did he? Bloody Dobby's helped him too. Oh yeah, that house elf that Hazza saved in the second film who kind of tried to kill Hazza, like, multiple times? Yeah, that's the one. Anyways, he's like, Dobby saw Creature being a racist in Diagon Alley, and then he saw Creature talking with the thief Mundungus.
I'm not a thief, you dirty little...
Hey, easy Mundungus. I don't know which one of your parents gave you that name, but they need their heads bloody checked.
Hey, that's not nice.
Spill it. We know you're the one who took the bloody locket, and you're the one that betrayed us too.
I didn't betray you. When bloody Voldemort rocked up, I got so scared I shit me bloody pants, didn't I? So I went home to get a fresh pair.
Mad Eye is dead because of you.
Well, he bloody deserves to be, doesn't he? What kind of plan was that?
He's got a point there. Yeah, I know. It was a terrible, terrible plan. But remember, we said we'd move past that. Anyways, Hazza grills him some more about the locket. And Mundungus says that he sold it to some old lady in Diagon Alley. Interesting. Who was it? Well, you don't have to wait long to find that out because the director wanted some more newspapers in this movie, didn't he? So Mundungus picks one up and he says, well, would you look at that? It's her. Pink outfit and smelly vagina and all. How the hell does he know her vagina is smelly? You don't want to know, mate. So next up, we see Hazza and Ronno stalking a woman in the street. And then they knock her out and drag her into a back alley. What the have I missed something? Nah, mate, but don't worry, Hazza and Ronno haven't gone full James Franco on us. Nah, they have a plan. Turns out they've kidnapped 3 people from the ministry, haven't they? And they're going to sneak in and try and steal the locket from Cuntbridge's office. And how are they going to do that? Bloody polyjuice potion, mate. But I thought that took months to brew. Yeah, mate, it does, but the movie doesn't really give a f about lore anymore, so they just happen to have the perfect amount on them. Of course they do. Go on. So then, in their new disguises, they follow a bunch of other ministry officials to the secret entrance. I bet it's someplace cool like London Bridge or Buckingham Palace. No, mate, turns out they all get into the ministry by flushing themselves down a bloody public toilet. What the f? I know, right? And Ronno, he doesn't want to because whoever was in the stall right before him had just eaten a family bucket of extra spicy wings from KFC, so his toilet looks like a bloody Jackson Pollock painting. Why, with all of the powers in the world, have the ministry decided to make all of their employees enter through dirty toilets? Kind of feels like they want to demean them somehow. I know, but that's bureaucrats for you. Anyways, they get in there and the bloody place has turned into Auschwitz or something because the guards are checking Wizard's papers and the Wizard's being dragged away kicking and screaming. How did this happen so fast? The Death Eaters only took over the ministry like 2 days ago and there was only like 5 of them. No idea. This is kind of one of those times where the movie's like, just go with it and don't ask questions or I'll stab you. Holy shit. All right, let's move on. Yeah, but it was the movie that said it, not me, so what can you do? Anyways, Hermo, Hazza and Ronno, they must have swallowed some toilet water or something because they start talking about Polyjuice Potion and they're wondering how much longer it's gonna last, but they're speaking in like regular indoor talking voices right out in the open. That's not very smart at all, is it? No, mate. So then they make their way to the elevators in their disguises, except they make themselves look even more suspicious and they all walk like they have 12-inch butt plugs stuffed up their asses. Ouch. I hope they stretched first. Nah, they didn't. I don't even think they used lube. And to make it worse, even though they look like different people, they still have their regular, normal, squeaky teenage voices. Ah, so people will know it's them immediately, right? Nah, mate, because apparently everyone at the ministry has been sniffing petrol so long that no one bloody notices at all. Of course they don't. Anyways, then Yaxley, one of the goons from Voldemort's HR meeting at the start of the movie, he gets in and he starts grilling Ronno because he thinks that he's someone else and because he smells like second-hand KFC. So he wants him to go have a shower and then clean up his office. Not really sure why he couldn't have done that himself. Well, it's a bloody power flex, isn't it? Kind of like how Steve Jobs used to get into elevators and then fire people just to keep people on their toes. Anyways, he tells Ronno that his wife is on trial and that if he doesn't go into his office soon and clean it up, he's going to make sure that she gets massive jail time. And not in one of these pussy new prisons where they get a TV and a fridge. Nah, mate, in the prison from Prison Break Season 3. Didn't they break out of that one way easier than they did the first one? Yeah, they did, but there was no work in plumbing or toilets, so they were more motivated to get out, weren't they? Anyways, Ronno, he starts freaking out.
Oh no! What am I going to do about me wife?
Ron, you ginger-pubed twat, you don't have a wife, remember? And even if you did have one, she would have left you because you have a tiny cock and huge balls. It's really off-putting. Gross. So then Ronno, he gets out of the elevator to have a shower and go clean up at Yaxley's office. And then Hazza says to Hermo that if they can't find Cuntbridge within the hour, that they're probably going to have to regroup and come back another day. Well, that's probably a good idea, although it's pretty obvious because we already know that that potion only lasts an hour, so not really sure why they had to say it at all. Exactly, but you'll never guess who walks into the bloody elevator. Umbridge. Hey, you guessed right for once. Good on you, you smelly Hey! Anyways, of course it's Cuntbridge, because the writers, they were taking the piss at this point in the movie, and they were trying to type with their toes to see if the studio would still buy the script. Yeah, that tracks. Anyways, Cuntbridge thinks that Hermo is someone she's supposed to be going to Ronno's fake wife's trial with, even though she's heard all of their voices before and could totally tell it was them if she put half her brain to it. So she tells Hazza to piss off and get back to work, which leaves Hermo alone with Cuntbridge, while Hazza goes to find the locket in her office. Yeah, but the building is massive though, with like thousands of rooms. How does he even find it? Well, it's only the bloody first room he walks past, isn't it? I can't believe anyone actually got paid to write this film. Yeah, like I said, they got shitloads of money. And there are Indian kids curing cancer who barely have enough money to scrape food together while they sleep in a 1-bedroom apartment with 5 generations of their family living under the same roof with 1 toilet. The world's fucked. It sure is, mate. Anyways, Hazza sets off some of Fred and George's totally illegal and probably lethal pranks to distract everyone in the foyer, and then he manages to sneak into Cuntbridge's office, which apparently wasn't locked or anything. I'm telling you, man, these writers, they're bloody using ChatGPT. Anyways, he finds some papers in Cuntbridge's desk, doesn't he? And they feature all of the members of the Order of the Three Dicks, and it has them all targeted for death. And then Hazza shits his bloody pants when he sees that even Hermo has a file for her and she's marked for death too. So the stakes are even higher now if they fail. Yeah, you bloody know it, mate. Even though it was pretty clear that Voldemort's wanted them dead this whole time. But get this, Dumbo and Mad Eye, they're bloody crossed out, aren't they? Because they were already successfully eliminated. Why does she still keep the files then? No idea. Anyways, then he leaves her office and everyone in the bloody foyer looks at him confused as to why he was even there in the first place. So, to avoid suspicion, he walks away like he's upgraded from a 12-inch butt plug to a 72-inch one. Well, that's just gonna make him look even more suspicious. Yeah, but like I said, everyone in the ministry's been sniffing petrol, haven't they? So, did he find the locket or not? Nah, mate, he's useless. So Hazza gets back to the elevator at the exact same time Ronno does, and the two of them decide to go down to the courtrooms to rescue Hermo. So let me get this straight, he's bumped into both Ronno and Umbridge at the exact times he was looking for them, on the exact same elevator. Yeah, I know, they should call this place the Ministry for Convenient Plot Developments. I see what you did there. Anyways, they go down into the basement and Ronno's fake wife is getting grilled by Cuntbridge for not having the right type of wand. What's wrong with her wand? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's implied that she's actually on trial because she's half muggle and half wizard. It's not heavily implied? Nah, just normally implied. But it's heavily implied that the Death Eaters all have orgies in this room after hours because there are all these weird white stains on all the tables. Gross. Anyways, as soon as they get there, Hazza's like, it's here. What does he mean, it's here? The bloody locket, you wanker. How does he know that it's there? He hasn't even seen it yet. Mate, you know that's never going to be explained. But get this, it's only wrapped around Dolores Cuntbridge's bloody fat neck, isn't it? But why hasn't she given it to Voldemort already if she's working for him? Because there's no way the studio could have made 2 movies out of this if she did that. Ah, right, that makes sense. Anyways, then Ronno's fake wife is about to be sent to Alcatraz by Cuntbridge and Donald Trump when Hazza whips out his bloody wand. Gross. Nah, mate, not his cock, his bloody wand. Ah, right. I always assume you mean cock because everything you say is pretty fucked up. Yeah, usually, but not this time. Anyways, Hazza starts staring daggers at Cuntbridge with his wand in his hand, and then she's like, what on earth are you doing? You're lying, Dolores, you crazy bitch, and one mustn't tell lies. Oh, I get it. That's a callback to 2 films ago. Yeah, exactly, mate. So then Hazza shoots her in the chest with blue jizz so hard that she bloody passes out, and Ronno whips out his one too, no, not his cock, and then him and Hazza start splooging everywhere, knocking out the dick eaters left, right, and centre. But I thought you said it wasn't his cock. Yeah, I got my metaphors mixed up. Anyways, Hermo snatches the locket from around Cuntbridge's fat neck, and Ronno grabs his fake wife, and the 3 of them leg it out of there. But get this, the protective barrier on the ceiling breaks, and a stream of bloody Dementards surge into the room. Dementors. Yeah, that's the one. So Hazza and Ronno and Hermo manage to get to the elevator just in time to shut the door, and the Dementards, they start reaching through the doors like they're bloody zombies or something in a George Romero film. I thought that they could like float through walls. Yeah, it's super unclear. It seems like sometimes they can when it's convenient to the plot, and other times they can't, like now. Anyways, Hazza shakes his little wand and he does one last massive blue jizz bomb, emptying his little sack. Gross. And the Dementards, they go flying off, don't they? And then Hazza, Ronno and Hermo manage to ride the elevators back up to the top floor. But get this, their polyjuice potion is only bloody running out, isn't it? Oh, shit. They're surrounded. There's no way they're going to get out. No, mate, they get there faster than Trump tried to blame the Democrats for the Epstein files once he found out his name was in them. Come on, mate, no politics here. How the hell is hating a pedo political? Allegedly. Anyways, Ronno's fake wife thanks him for saving her, and she gives him a big old bloody kiss, doesn't she? But right as she does, Ronno turns back into a lanky 17-year-old kid, and then the woman realises that now her name's on the Epstein files too. Can we just move past the Epstein files? Never. Release them. Anyways, bloody Yaxley has spotted them, hasn't he? And he's chasing after them like he's the T-1000 from Terminator 2 or something. And just as the 3 of them jump into the fireplace to enter the Flu Network, Yaxley grabs Ronno's leg. Ah, shit. So what happens? Well, we get some really confusing CGI, and then Hazza wakes up staring at the sky like he's Jack from the pilot of Lost or something, and he looks over to see the bloody locket. Okay, so what happened to Ronno and Yaxley? Well, here's the thing, mate. Ronno, he's been splinched. Oh, not splinched. Hang on, what's splinched? Well, if you up apparating, then sometimes you can leave part of your body behind at the previous destination. So Ronno's arm's been bloody chopped off. I thought they went into the Flu Network, not apparated. Yeah, they did, but Hermo tells this really confusing story about how they caught the Flu Network to Grimmauld Place, but then she knew that they wouldn't be safe anymore because of Yaxley, even though they already knew where that place was, and then she apparated Hazza, Ronno and herself to this weird forest. It is needlessly confusing. Yeah, I know, it's kind of one of those scenes where you can tell they had no idea how to write themselves out of a corner, so they just hope that you don't care about law, logic, or using more than 10% of your brain at any given time. These writers are smoking crack and using ChatGPT. Oh, it's super lazy. Although this one's probably more on J.K. Rowling than the writers, because this is actually what happens in the books too. Anyways, this event marks a big turning point for the rest of the movie. From stuff that actually happens to Hazza, Hermo and Ronno just sort of wandering around and sleeping in tents for the next half of the movie. Really? Yeah, this is what happens when you prioritise money over story, mate. But don't worry, I'm going to skip most of the boring stuff and just focus on the things that actually happen to spare you the boredom of actually watching this film for yourself. Phew, thanks. Anyway, so now they've set up a camp and Ronno's totally fine now because apparently we've moved right past that plot point. Really? Yeah, I mean, they have his arm in a sling, which honestly makes no sense at all, because if you were able to kind of magic his arm back, why wouldn't he be able to use it now? Yeah, true. The magic system in this series, it's really broken, isn't it? Anyways, they try to bloody destroy the locket by shooting it with their wands, don't they? But they f it up worse than China did when they accidentally leaked COVID from a Wuhan lab that was doing gain-of-function research for that Fauci. I thought that some dude ate a bat or something. Yeah, of course you did, wanker. Anyways, you can tell that Ronno's never been camping before because he starts to lose his after the first day. He doesn't even know that you're supposed to dig a hole when you take a so he just does one right next to the tent. You know, like your old mate Jeremy did when we were teenagers. Jeremy, I woke up with flies in my mouth. It was gross. Oh yeah, I remember. And those flies had definitely been climbing all over Jeremy's salty turd right beforehand. Oh, you're making me sick just thinking about it. Anyways, Hazard puts the locket around his neck for safekeeping, and he says that they're going to need to take turns carrying it. But get this, when he touches it, he has another bloody Apple Vision Pro, doesn't he? What does he see this time? Well, Hazard sees Voldemort torturing Gorgovich, doesn't he? Okay. Who the hell is that? No idea, mate. Anyways, he tells Voldemort that a boy stole a wand from him, and then Voldemort kills Buddy Gorgovich. I mean, I'd like to feel bad for the guy, but I have no idea who he is or what he's even doing in the movie. I know, right? Anyways, Hermo seems to somehow know that he's had another WandaVision, so Hazard tells her about how Gorgovich was actually another wand maker, like Ollivander, and that this subplot is really hanging on by a thread. Okay, so Voldemort is killing wand makers now? Well, why is he doing that? Well, it's a J.J. Abrams mystery, isn't it? Those are always fantastic, aren't they? But then get this, Hazard hears Ronno listening to that old-fashioned radio again, doesn't he? And he starts to get so pissed off because he doesn't understand why that radio worked at Hogwarts back in the 5th film when no technology is supposed to work from within Hogwarts, and now he's bloody brought it here with him too for some reason. Anyways, they're just reading out names on repeat, which is the weirdest podcast ever in my opinion. Yeah, true, that's really weird. Weirder even than those ASMR podcasts where chicks just like fart into microphones for 3 hours. You know, I've often thought I should start my own podcast. Yeah, you and every other wanker on the internet, mate. Hey, that was uncalled for. Anyways, Hazard's now fuming at Ronno, so he starts having a whinge to Hermo like, I wish he'd turn that thing off. Hasn't he ever heard of Spotify before? Unlimited music, and you don't even need to pay for it. What are we doing, a Spotify ad read, Harry? No, but honestly, I'd be fine with that. I actually really like Spotify. Take that locket off your neck, Harry, you tosser. Why has he got to take it off? Well, because J.K. Rowling decided to rip off Lord of the Rings again, just like she did with the Ring Wraiths and Gandalf. So now she's ripping off how the One Ring warps and corrupts people's minds. That's exactly the same thing, isn't it? Anyways, Hermo tells him to take off the bloody locket because it's making him crazier than Kanye West when he released that Nazi song and went on Alex Jones. So next up, we get a bunch of boring scenes where Hazard is listening to that old radio now, even though he was literally just pissed off at Ronno for doing that same thing. So Hermo, she decides to go for a walk. Hang on, she actually just goes for a walk in the movie. Yeah, mate, it's like a 10-kilometer hike and they show the whole bloody thing just to pad that runtime. Jesus Christ. But get this, while she's on her walk, she sees 3 blokes carrying an unconscious kid through the woods at night. Holy shit. Does she help the kid? No, mate, she just hides behind an enchantment spell. Even though it's pretty clear that those guys are like Harvey Weinsteins in the making. Sounds like she's going through a bit of an emo phase too then. Yeah, because she read some Nietzsche in philosophy class and now she doesn't believe in anything anymore. Isn't that the same philosopher that Hitler loved? Why have you always got to bring up Hitler, mate? Oh, you were the one that brought up Kanye before, mate. I don't remember that at all. Anyways, bloody Hazard comes to find her. You know, because she walked off alone in the middle of the night like a complete moron. And he says that the blokes who worked at Weinstein Productions were actually called Snatchers. And Hermo said that they almost found her because she was wearing perfume. Why is she wearing perfume while they're all alone in the woods? Well, that's exactly what Hazard says. He says that camping is about smelling like shit together for a few days. Like your mate Jeremy. Will you shut up about that? Anyways, apparently Ronno's become an even shitter character because Hermo says they can't apparate anymore because he's too weak from the flinching, so now they have to search for the Horcruxes on foot. So now they have to search the entire planet on foot. Yeah, mate, and let me tell you, this part of the film makes it feel like you're watching them walk around the world twice because it's that bloody slow. Damn it, I think I better take a beer for this one too then. Sure thing, here you go. Thanks. So anyways, Ronno's mood gets darker than Justin Trudeau was when he did blackface at that party. Oh snap, what's wrong with him? Well, it's the bloody locket, isn't it? Because J.K. Rowling stole the idea from Lord of the Rings. Oh, so Ronno's going like full Gollum now. That's right, mate. He's just listening to that old-fashioned radio again, which is still just listing off names of people who the Death Eaters have killed each day. That's such a weird podcast. I bet they still managed to snag an AG1 sponsorship though. Oh mate, they sponsor every big podcast. They don't even care who. Well, except us. They didn't want to sponsor us. Anyway, something finally bloody happens, doesn't it? Hermo comes racing into the tent one day and she's like, Harry, I've got it! Godric Gryffindor's sword! Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Well, smartass, you already destroyed one of the Horcruxes, right? Yeah, with the bloody basilisk fang, duh. Well, the sword takes on whatever makes it stronger, doesn't it? And it took in the basilisk venom too. Hermione, you're a genius. I don't care what anyone says about you. Who says stuff about me? No one, never mind. Awkward. I know, right? But get this, bloody Ronno rocks up, doesn't he? And he's transformed from an emo into a full-on goth. So he removes all the lights from the room with that weird thing Dumbo gave him. That's creepy. Yeah, and he starts giving Hazza and Hermo a massive spraying because they're talking to each other and it's making him jealous. I mean, if I were him, I'd be jealous too. She's way too good for him. Yeah, I know, mate. He's a loser. We've been over this like a million times. But it's the bloody locket, isn't it? Remember, since Hazza's little freak out, they've been taking it in turns to wear it. So then Ronno, he goes bloody full Godzilla -1 on Hazza and Hermo, and then Hazza tells him to go piss off and sit on a greasy fat one. Oh, shit. So what happens? Well, Ronno only goes and does it, doesn't he? So then he just pisses off. Yeah, mate, and he gets more piss on him than Lana Rhodes does on a Wednesday night. Gross. I don't even want to know how you know that, mate. So what happens next? Well, Hazza and Hermo have to go on without the ginger don't they? Not that big of a loss, really. All he's done in this film so far is lose his bloody arm. Yeah, exactly, mate. He should have died ages ago. Well, at least they should be able to find those Horcruxes much faster now without the dead weight slowing them down. You'd think that, wouldn't you? But for some reason, even with Ronno gone now, they still just keep camping and wandering around aimlessly. They even have enough time to do a bloody dance one night. Really? Why? Mate, no idea. And let me tell you, for two people who are supposed to be just friends, Hazza looks like he's barred up big time in his little pants during this dance. He does look a little too excited there. Anyways, Hermo's still heartbroken from Ronno leaving, isn't she? So then she pulls away from Hazza in the dance and she goes off to have a little cry. Either that or she's still got one of his ginger pubes in her eyes. Gross. And then Hazza, he gets a bit frustrated, so he goes back to his bed to have a little wank. Gross. But instead, he decides to kiss his golden snitch, pretending that it's Hermo's golden snatch. Gross. Yeah, but get this, when he kisses it, it only has a secret message on it. Oh, what the hell? Yeah, I know, mate. This is another one of Dumbo's cokehead plans, isn't it? The message reads, "It opens at the close." Why doesn't he ever just tell them in plain English what to do? Well, because Dumbledore fried his dopamine receptors by doom scrolling on Grindr every night. So I guess that with these kids' heads was the only joy he had left in his long life. Jesus Christ, that's dark. Yeah, well, he's dead now, so he can go f himself. Anyways, Hermo loves convenient plot twists. So then she tells Hazza, right at the same time, that she found something in that old children's book that Dumbo gave her. You mean the same book she's had for months now and has presumably read multiple times? Yeah, that's the one. Anyway, she says she found a weird symbol someone has scribbled into her book with a pen, like a serial killer. Then Hazza's like, "That's the same symbol Luna's junkie father was wearing at General Hux's wedding, remember? Before Bill made it weird by telling us how much him and Fleur bang." Oh, Well, so what does it mean? Well, you're going to have to wait to find that one out, you bloody pelican. Look, to be honest, I'm just glad something's finally happening. Well, don't get too excited, mate, because Hermo and Hazza decide to sit around and do fuck all again for a while before they actually come up with a plan of what to do. Jesus Christ. Is part 2 better than this? Oh, yeah, mate. Part 2 is much better than this one. Don't worry. That's a relief. Anyways, they eventually come up with a plan now that they know that Gryffindor's sword can destroy Horcruxes. So they try and find it. Hazza thinks that they should go to Godric's Hollow where he was born because he thinks that Dumbledore may have actually stashed the sword there, which honestly feels like a massive leap. Yeah, where's he pulling that from? No idea, but apparently Hermione has been smoking that same kind of crack because she agrees with him, and she says that Dumbledore actually used to live there too, and it was the birthplace of Godric bloody Gryffindor. So, wouldn't there be a trap waiting for him there? Would you just shut up and let me tell the bloody story, alright? Alright, sorry. But you're right, there totally is. Anyways, they finally apparate to Godric's Hollow, and finally the movie's actually using up some of its production budget on a proper location. And let me tell you, for two people who are just friends, they spend a lot of their time in Godric's Hollow holding hands and cuddling. Really? Maybe Ronno wasn't just being a moody goth after all. Nah, mate, turns out he feels the same way Vanessa Kirby's husband did after he saw all of the Fantastic Four press circuit videos. Nah, but he has anxiety though, mate. Well, do you caress engaged women when you're anxious, mate? Can't say that I do, to be honest. Exactly. You go and have a sweaty palmed wank in your room like the rest of us normal blokes. Why are your palms so sweaty? Never you mind. Anyways, while they're in Godric's Hollow, they decide to go and see the local cemetery, don't they? What the hell? Nah, mate, it's all above board because Hazza's parents are buried there, aren't they? Oh, yeah, true. Anyways, while they're looking at the graves, Hermo notices that same bloody symbol again, doesn't she? And it's on some old codger's grave called Ignorance ignotus pavril. But before they can figure out what the hell that means, they see some old spooky lady is watching them like she knows what they did last summer. Well, what did they do last summer? Nothing. It's a movie reference, you idiots. All right. Anyways, she asks them to follow her somehow without speaking, and let me tell you, this woman must reek more than P. Diddy's basement because there are flies buzzing all around her head. So none of this is like setting off alarm bells for Hazza or Hermo? Apparently not, mate, so they bloody follow her right back to her creepy ass house, don't they? Idiots. I know, right? But get this, Hazza bloody figures out who she is. Who? Batilda bloody Bagshot, mate. Who? Remember that lady who was mentioned super briefly at the start of the movie by that drunken old lady at the party who pissed on Hazza's face? Not really, I've been tuning out a bit for this one. Well, neither did I actually. I actually had to go back and rewatch that part. But yeah, it turns out she knew bloody old mate Dumbledore, didn't she? And she was the one who dished out all the dirt on him for Rita Skeeter's book. Ah, right, I gotcha. I'm all caught up now. So anyways, while they're in her creepy old house, which has no bloody lights on, by the way, Hazza sees a photo of the young bloke from his vision, and it's the bloke who stole the wand from bloody Grgorovich. Interesting, so who's he? Well, the old woman is still being massively creepy and not speaking, so we don't find out yet. But it's the same actor who plays Vecna in Stranger Things, and is in the Voltaire Council in that pedo franchise Twilight. Ah, okay. Anyways, the old lady beckons Hazza to come upstairs and follow him, doesn't she? And at this point, everyone's thinking, what are you doing, Hazza, you stupid wanker? You're like the guy in the horror movies who goes off for a piss and never comes back. Yeah, man, he's acting like a full-on NPC right now. Anyways, Hermo, being a non-NPC, but in fact a VIP, she starts investigating the house, doesn't she? I see what you did there. So what does she find? Well, it's unclear. First, she finds a signed copy of Rita Skeeter's book, and then she finds a messy room with lots of buzzing flies in it. So either Batilda Bagshot has killed someone in there, or she's taken a super messy shit on the floor. Either way, it's really gross. Gross. Well, that's what I just said. Anyways, upstairs, the creepy old lady goes full on Jeffrey Epstein, and she starts talking in parcel tongue, and then she turns into a big old bloody snake. What the f? Well, it's bloody Nagini, isn't it? Ah, right, so it was a trap. Yeah, it was obviously a trap, mate. I don't know how they didn't see that. Anyways, the snake is going full on psycho, like a junkie shadow boxing their childhood trauma on the corner of Swanston Street. What happened to Swanston Street? When I was growing up, there was like one homeless guy and we all knew his name. Now there's like a full on shanty town down there. I don't know, mate. All I know is I have to scrape shit off my feet after I go to the cities nowadays. And it's never dog shit anymore, let me tell you that. Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyways, then Hazza has to go Super Saiyan to fight Frieza in his final form. Don't you mean Nagini? Yeah, sure, whatever. But the bloody pelican keeps dropping his wand, doesn't he? So Hermo has to pull out her Macca's VIP sticker again, and she saves the bloody day as usual. I guarantee if Hermo hadn't chose to sit next to them in the first book, Rono and Hazza wouldn't have made it past their first year at bloody Hogwarts. Don't you know it, mate? Anyways, Hermo manages to f up the snake with fire, and she snatches up Hazza's wand and apparates them the f out of there. Nice. Yeah, but get this, Hazza wakes up and they're in some random forest again. And then Hermo tells him that she came to this forest a while ago with her mum and dad. But then she gets all emo and sad about it, saying that if she brought her parents back now, they wouldn't remember any of it. Yeah, obviously, because she wiped their bloody memories, the pelican. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of weird that she's only sad about that now. Anyways, Hermo tells him that she has figured out who that Vecna guy is. Interesting. Who's he? Gerrit Grindelwald. Who the f is that? I have no idea, mate. The movie says it like it's supposed to be common knowledge, but this was clearly explained in the book and was never actually fleshed out here. Fantastic. Anyways, Hazza asks her for his wand because he says that he doesn't trust a woman to do security, which is well out of pocket if you ask me and a bit misogynist. Then she tells him that he's a massive twat and that his wand got snapped during their escape from Nagini. How did that happen? It's never really explained, so just shut the hell up about that. Okie dokie. Anyways, Hazza snatches her wand off her angrily, and he says he isn't pissed at her about his wand getting snapped, but you can totally tell that he is. Ah, like when you ask your partner if she's okay and she says she's fine. Yeah, exactly, mate. Fine means that they're pissed at you and they're actually planning on how to dispose of your body right now. Anyways, Hazza stays up late to guard the tent. I'm not really sure why Hermione's not putting up those protection charms anymore. Probably could have saved them both some sleep, but I guess they couldn't be fucked explaining that either. Yeah, it's like they didn't even proofread the script they wrote. They just went straight to shooting it, right? Anyways, Hazza's playing with that jagged little piece of glass again, isn't he? You mean the glass that they never properly explained in this movie and is probably going to become vitally important later on? Yeah, that's the one. Anyways, Hazza thinks that Hermo has slipped some peyote into his drink or something, because he starts seeing a blue glowing deer walking through the forest. Okay, that's weird. Kind of looks like a Patronus though, doesn't it? Yeah, it looks exactly like a Patronus, but they don't want you to know that yet, so just forget about it. So what happens next? Well, the blue glowing deer that's totally a Patronus walks into the middle of a frozen pond, and when Hazza uses his Lumos spell to light up the joint, You'll never guess what he spots at the bottom of the frozen lake. Is it someone's iPhone? What? Nah, mate. Statistically, more people drop their phones in toilets, not lakes. I know, mate. I used to work at the Apple store and half the people who came in with broken phones had dropped them in the bloody shitter. Gross. Hey, I'm supposed to say that. Oh, yeah. Anyways, Hazza starts hacking away at the bloody ice, doesn't he? And then he takes off his clothes and his small dick shrinks even more because of the cold weather and he just dives right into the frozen water. He dives beneath the surface of a frozen lake in the middle of the night. Yep. He's a bloody pelican, isn't he? Why didn't he just go and get Hermione to help him, or at the very least use some sort of flame spell to warm up the water first? Because he's a idiot, that's why. Anyways, he dives to the bottom of the lake and grabs the bloody sword, doesn't he? But you'll never guess what happens next. Well, he probably just gets trapped below the ice in the freezing water, is that right? Yeah, I guess it was actually pretty obvious that that would happen. But get this, it's only the bloody Horcrux. Somehow it's trying to pull him under the water now. What? How? It's an inanimate object. Yeah, no idea, they never explained that. Anyways, he's bloody gasping for air when he sees someone walk onto the ice above the water. And before you bloody know it, someone dives in after him and grabs him out. Ah, shit. I mean, it's obviously not Hermione, otherwise they'd just kind of show us her face. So I wonder who it is. Well, it's only bloody Ginger Pubes 5000, isn't it? Rono? What the hell? Where did he come from? No idea, mate, but apparently the absolute bellend dove in to save him without taking any of his bloody clothes off. So the likelihood that he would have drowned as well was pretty high. Mate, if Hermione wasn't around, I'd be surprised if these two could chew their own food at this point. Oh, I know, right? Anyways, Hazza and Rono, they don't seem concerned about hypothermia at all, do they? So they start trying to destroy the bloody Horcrux straight away. Wait, so we don't find out whose Patronus that was, or who put the sword at the bottom of the bloody lake, or how Ron even managed to find them again? No, of course not, mate. For fuck's sake. Anyways, Hazza reckons Rono's the one that's got to destroy it. You know, because he's been such a whiny little bitch for this whole movie. Yeah, that's true. So Hazza says that when he opens the locket, it's going to try and talk Rono out of destroying it. How does he know that? Dude, he's just going off pure vibes at this moment. I reckon Hermo actually did spike his drink with peyote. Anyways, when he opens it, the locket starts preying on Rono's mind, doesn't it? Showing him his worst fears. Ah, shit. So it's like a big spider? Nah, mate, not a big spider. Yeah, but we established in the second film when they fought Aragog that he has a fear of spiders. And then they confirmed it again in the third film with the boggart. Yeah, mate, but forget about logic and lore for a second. Rono's new worst fear is a naked CGI version of Hermo and Hazza floating in a black cloud making out. Yeah, I know, this scene is really weird. I got so confused that I almost felt like I was watching a Twilight film again for a second. Yeah, I can see that comparison. Anyways, Rono gets so pissed off when he sees Hazza's CGI penis that he bloody swings the sword and smashes the bloody locket. I can't believe that Ron actually did something for a change. Yeah, mate, he helped with the chess game in the first film, and now he's done this. So that's literally only 2 things he's done in 7 movies. Yeah, right, then that's not really that impressive, really, is it? Nah, not really. No, it's not really that impressive at all, is it, mate? Anyways, Hazza and Rono go back to camp the next morning. Not sure why it took them so long to walk back, but Hermo wakes up, doesn't she? And she sees Rono standing with Hazza. Yeah, I bet she's glad he's back. Nah, mate, she's pissed, isn't she? She starts beating up Rono and telling him that beating up a ginger isn't classified as a hate crime. I'm pretty sure that beating someone up based on how they look is the very definition of a hate crime. Anyway, she chops off his left nut and tells him never to leave them again or she'll take the other one too. Jesus Christ. Anyways, Rono starts telling them about how he found his way back to them. Well, it was Christmas morning and I was sitting in the pub because remember, school kids are allowed to drink alcohol in pubs in this universe, and I was playing with me Deluminator. Your what? My Deluminator, Harry, not me bloody knob. Oh, go on then. Well, then I heard Hermione's voice come out of it, didn't I? Then I flicked it open and a ball of light rose up and it went into me bloody chest. Then I knew it was going to take me where I wanted to go. Where did it take you? Well, first it took me to the bloody toilet, didn't it? I drank way too much at the pub and I needed to piss. Anyways, then I said I wanted it to take me somewhere else, so I did it again and it took me to bloody Harry. That sounds like a really convoluted way to say it happened because J.K. Rowling ran out of ideas. Yeah, I know, mate. Anyways, later that night, Rono says to Hazza that aside from J.K. Rowling running out of ideas, he thinks Dumbledore must have known that he needed to find his way back to them somehow, which is why he gave him the Deluminator. Kinda sounds like Dumbledore knew he'd bitch out and leave them. So if he knew that, why would he think that they'd be better off having him back? Yeah, no idea, mate. Dumbo had smoked so much chuff by this point that all he could do was think about In-N-Out Burger. Oh yeah, that's fair. They are delicious though. Anyways, you'll never believe this. Rono's found another wand. So now Hazza, he's got a wand again. J.K. Rowling isn't even trying anymore, is she? No, not at all, mate. And to really drive that point home, Hermione comes in and she says that she found that mark again in a letter Dumbledore wrote to Grindelwald. Vecna. Do we know who the hell Grindelwald is yet? Well, if you pause the video, you can see that in Rita Skeeter's book, Grindelwald is listed as Dumbledore's friend. So this movie expects you to pause it and read tiny writing to understand crucial plot details. Yeah, mate, apparently. What if you saw it in the cinema? Well, then you're bloody fucked, aren't you? Anyways, Hermo reckons that they need to go see Luna Love You Long Time's dad, because he was wearing that same symbol around his neck and seemed to know what it was. Yeah, that's true. I'd have gone to see him much earlier, to be honest. Yeah, same here. But remember, they really wanted to make this 2 movies, didn't they? Ah, right, I forgot about that. Anyways, they all decide they're gonna go to Luna's house, which is a really oddly constructed tower in the middle of nowhere with kites hanging off it. I'd say that kind of sounds like a really strange place to live, but Luna's a bit of a meth head, so I reckon it kind of suits her perfectly. Yeah, me too. Anyways, they knock on the door and Luna's dad, Xenophilius Lovegood, answers, doesn't he? And he looks bloody rough. And not just because he grew up with the name Xenophilius. Yeah, I feel like the kids at my school would not have left that name alone. Apparently kids at school used to call him Copperphilius Lovechild and Xenomorpheus. Well, those aren't very good, are they? Yeah, well, they're just kids, so what do you expect? Anyways, he seems confused to see them, like he's stayed awake all night eating cheese and watching a bloody Love Island marathon. That's a very good way to go insane. Yeah, it sure is, but what's even weirder is he doesn't even seem to recognise Hazza at all, even though he owns a magazine called The Quibbler that has written dozens of articles about Hazza up to this point. And in the first film, they kind of established that everyone in the wizarding world knows who Hazza is. Sounds like he had way too much cheese. He sure did. Anyways, he invites him in for a cup of tea, and he seems super worried, doesn't he? And not just because House of the Dragon Season 2 was a steaming pile of shit, and his job might be at risk. Seems like he's anxious about something else. That's suspicious. You better believe it, mate. Anyways, apparently the tea he gives them tastes like sweaty ass, because they're all gagging on it worse than Riley Reid gagged on Danny D's cock. Gross. I was wondering how long it would take for you to bring them up again. Shut up. Anyways, they ask him where Luna is. He's acting really sus about it. So instead, they just decide to ask him straight up about what the symbol around his neck means. And he says,
Oh, you mean this?
yes, exactly that. That's what I just asked you about. Are you stupid?
Well, it's the Deathly Hallows, isn't it?
Ah, that's the name of the movie. Hey, you haven't made that joke for a while. Yeah, I thought I'd dust that one off. Nice. Anyways, then he's like,
I presume you've heard the tale of the 3 brothers. No, but I've heard the tale of the stepsister stuck in a washing machine.
oh, gross, Ron. Go on, sorry.
Well, it's an old children's tale, isn't it, you daft prick? It's in the book Dumbledore gave Hermione, the book she's read multiple times and not been able to figure that out, even though it's a book for children.
Hey, I was really busy, okay?
What? Sucking on this little brat's ginger pecker?
Jeez, Luna's dad is unchained. Yeah, mate, he's a loose unit. Anyways, Hermione reads out the story. So we get this really cool animated sequence. Oh, yeah, that is cool. Kind of looks like those old school silhouette puppets. Anyways, I won't bore you with the whole story because honestly, it's actually pretty shit. But the summary is, Death gives these 3 travellers 3 unique gifts: an immortality stone, an invisibility cloak, and an elder wand, which is apparently an unbeatable wand. Oh, shit. So what does he want in return? Well, what Death always wants. Their bloody souls, mate. Anyways, the bellend who has the wand, he gets murdered. And then the guy who has the immortality stone, he ends up hanging himself. How the hell was this story in a kid's book? Yeah, I have no clue, mate. But get this. The bloke who has the invisibility cloak manages to escape death. But the important thing is, all of these items together are called the Deathly Hallows. Oh, that's the name of the movie. Okay, that's enough now. Shut the f up. Anyways, just in case they didn't get the point of the story, Luna's dad literally draws it out for them, you know, because he suspects that they might have learning disabilities, especially Ronno. Well, he's not wrong there, but get this. When they try to leave, he won't bloody let them. Why not? Because he's bloody set them up, hasn't he? The Dick Eaters have kidnapped Luna, and he's offered to trade Hazza, Hermo and Ronno in exchange for her freedom. What a c***. Yeah, I know, right? Anyways, the Death Eaters surround the house and they start bloody wrecking the joint. There's no way they'll escape. They're bloody surrounded. Nah, mate, they get out of there easier than chicks in stuck porn could get out of the washing machine if they weren't just there to cop some random dick. Why are you so obsessed with stuck porn recently? What's going on with that? I don't know. It's just a really weird trend for a while. Anyways, they just bloody apparate out of there, don't they? Because apparating and polyjuice potion seem to be literally their only 2 solutions for all of their problems. Yeah, true. The gang are really phoning in this mystery. Yeah, but it doesn't bloody work. They apparate into a nearby forest, and those Jeffrey Epstein looking blokes from earlier on, they're waiting in the forest for Hazza, Hermo and Ronno. Okay, I'm leaning back in again. Stuff is finally happening. So they start legging it into the forest to get away from them. Why don't they just apparate again? Surely that would be faster. Yeah, that would have been the smart thing to do, but I think Luna's dad was bang on about them all having learning disabilities. So they just do this instead. Makes sense to me. Yeah, but they can't outrun them forever. So Hermo, she turns around and shoots Hazza right in the face. Jesus Christ. First she lobotomizes her parents and now this. I know, mate. mate. She's worse than bloody Ted Bundy at this point. But get this, Hazard's face is so swollen that when the weird pedo blokes catch up to him, they don't actually know it's Harry Potter. Ah, so this was Hermione's plan. Yeah, exactly, mate. Even though she could have apparated them all away in the same amount of time it took for her to shoot Hazard in the face. But get this, while Hazard's unconscious on the ground, he has another bloody WandaVision, doesn't he? And this time, Voldemort is talking to Grindelwald. Oh, you mean the guy that we had to pause the movie and then squint to read his name to find out who he was? Yeah, that's him. And he tells Voldemort that his leukemia is getting worse. So now, he doesn't just have no hair and no nose, but he also has no balls either. Jesus. But Voldemort's like, I already knew that, dude. So, what he really wants to know is where is the Elder Wand? And what does he say? Well, he bloody tells him, doesn't he? Says Dumbledore had it buried with him. You know, like how Mr. Burns wanted to bury Smithers alive with him if he died. That's a pretty old reference, but I'll allow it. Anyways, when Hazard wakes up, he tells Hermo that Voldemort knows where the bloody Elder Wand is, and that he's going to have it by midnight. I thought those weird pedo guys had already caught them though. Yeah, well, apparently once Hazard was on the ground, they just kind of walked real slowly to catch up with him. Well, that seems like a terrible plan, but go on. So the pedo blokes aren't convinced by Hazard's swollen face, are they? They can still see the scar on his head. So they ask him what his name is. What does he say? Well, he bloody lies, doesn't he? And he says his name is Vernon Dudley. So he just says the name of two people he grew up in the same house with. Yeah, mate, so a quick Google search would probably just lead him straight back to him anyways. What an idiot. Exactly, mate. Anyways, they don't buy it for a second because Hazard can't lie for shit. So instead of taking them to the Ministry of Sound, they decide to take him to Malfoy bloody Manor. Ah, snap, that's where all the Death Eaters work. You mean Dick Eaters? No, I don't. Anyways, they show Hazard's scar at the door, rather than ringing the doorbell, which is a really weird way to enter a house if you ask me. Well, how does anyone get in if they don't have a scar? No idea. Maybe they just flash their tits. And what if they're a dude? Then they're scrotum, I don't know, what do you want from me? Gross. Anyways, bloody Bellatrix is there, and she takes Hazard to Draco Malfoy to see if he recognises Hazard. And Draco, he's pissed, right? Because he's done all in this movie, and he knows that he isn't going to get much more to do after this one scene. Well, does he recognise him? Well, he's like, I can't tell if it's him or not. Why is his face swollen like that? He looks like a gorilla's shaved balls.
Draco, I don't need to know how you know what those look like. Come on now. If we are the ones to identify Harry Potter and turn him in, we'll be millionaires.
Aren't they already millionaires? Yeah, but you know how rich are, mate. A few million's never enough for him. Yeah, true. Anyways, apparently the Death Eaters don't want to call Voldemort back here unless they're really sure it's Hazard. Otherwise, apparently he's going to kill them all. That makes no sense. He'd have no Death Eaters left at all if he did that. Yeah, it's really vague how many Death Eaters he actually has. We only see about 5 of them, but apparently there's millions of them. Sounds like the studio wanted to keep the budget of this movie down. Yeah, well, apparently Tom Felton got $18 million for playing Draco, and he's only in these films for a combined 20 minutes. Really? No wonder he's desperate to get back into this franchise. Yeah, I know, right? Anyways, one of those pedo guys shows Bellatrix the sword, and Bellatrix, she bloody loses it, doesn't she? She has Hazard and Ronno thrown into the dungeons, and she's gonna torture bloody Hermo. Holy sh**. Also, why do the Malfoys have like a weird dungeon underneath their house? Well, Lucius is a bit of a bondage freak, isn't he? He likes to get pegged and he has one of those weird mechanical chairs. Gross. Anyways, Ronno's like, what are we gonna do? We can't leave Hermione with that crazy bitch. Ron? Luna, is that you? I thought it was you. You have a very distinct smell of crusty gym socks and body odour. I do not. She's right, Ron. You smell like sh**. Oh! Got him. Anyway, she's not alone down there, is she? Bloody Ollivander's down there too, and some weird goblin from Gringotts. Who's he? Well, we don't know yet, and to be honest, he doesn't really do anything till the next movie. For fuck's sake. Anyways, we hear Hermo being tortured upstairs, and she's screaming. What is she doing to her? Well, apparently Bellatrix is making her watch every episode of Big Bang Theory. Dear God, that's just barbaric. Oh yeah, she's a bloody maniac, mate. Anyways, turns out Bellatrix thinks that Hermo stole Godric Gryffindor's sword from her vault in Gringotts Bank. Interesting. So the Death Eaters stole it, and now someone else has stolen it and given it back to Hazard. That's right, mate. But Hermo, she doesn't know anything about that, does she? So Bellatrix, she's torturing her for no reason at all. And at this point, she's already made her watch 2 seasons of Big Bang Theory and the Young Sheldon spin-off. So Hermo, she's completely losing her mind. Poor Hermione, that's just horrible. I'd prefer water torture. It should be considered a war crime. So Wormtail goes downstairs again and he gets the bloody goblin from the dungeon. And then Ronno and Hazard are like, let go of her, you wanker.
Get back, Ginger Pubes, or you're next. And you won't be watching Big Bang Theory. No, no, no. You'll be watching all 11 seasons of Seventh Heaven.
Oh! No, not Seventh Heaven. Yeah, that show was terrible. Jessica Biel was pretty hot though. Yeah, she was, but still, watching that show was more painful than getting a colonoscopy with no anesthesia. Ouch. Anyways, Hazza can't think of anything productive to do, so he pulls out that random piece of glass, doesn't he? He starts yelling into it for help. Well, why would a shattered piece of glass help? Well, because in the books, Hazza sees a face in the piece of glass at the start of the movie, and he thinks it's Dumbledore, so he's wondering if maybe he's still alive in some way. Oh, I see. That kind of makes sense. So what about in the movie? Yeah, well, in the movie, it's just like a random piece of glass, and it makes Hazza look like he hasn't been taking his medication. For fuck's sake. I know, right? But it only bloody works. What? Bloody Dobby apparates into the dungeon, doesn't he? Why didn't they try doing that? Oh, because they're morons, that's why. Anyways, then Dobby's like, Dobby has come to rescue Harry Potter, of course. Oh, what about me? Oh, off, Ron. Oh! Dobby, please get Luna and Ollivander out of here first. Of course! Whatever Harry Potter wants, Harry Potter gets. Oh, this room brings back memories. I used to live down here when I worked for Master Malfoy. It wasn't always a dungeon, you know. They used to have me and some Chinese kids making iPhones down here.
Dobby!
Oh, right, sorry. So anyways, then Dobby apparates Luna and Ollivander to some random beach that Ronno suggests they go to. Then he says to Hazza and Ronno to meet him at the top of the stairs in 10 seconds. Aren't they locked in though? Yeah, that's what I thought. But luckily for them, the screenwriter knew that made no sense at all. So they wrote that Wormtail comes down to check on them to see what that sound was. Oh, that's smart. So they fixed bad writing with some slightly less bad writing. No, they were both equally bad. But get this. Dobby does a Hadouken in the back of Wormtail's head and knocks him down the stairs unconscious. Nice, Dobby's a little legend. Yeah, Dobby's pretty sick. I mean, you kind of have to ignore the fact that his plan in the second movie made no sense at all, and he almost got Hazza killed about 5 times. Oh yeah, that's right. Dobby. Yeah, exactly. Anyways, Dobby steals Wormtail's wand, so they sneak upstairs where Bellatrix is grilling the goblin, wanting to know who went into her vault and stole the bloody sword. And then Ronno sees Hermo, and she's in rough shape, isn't she? Oh no, what's happened? Well, apparently she couldn't make it through the entirety of the Big Bang series, so her brain just kind of hemorrhaged and she passed out and shit herself. Gross. Oh yeah, and then she engraved the word mudblood into Hermo's arms, which is definitely not going to play well in the new reboot. That's going to be problematic. So then Ronno gets so pissed off when he sees Hermo's arm that he goes Super Saiyan Ultra, and then him and Hazza start dueling Malfoy and his mum. And then Malfoy, he's pathetic, isn't he? Because he's just been sitting in the green room waiting this whole movie for like 2 scenes, so he barely knows where he is. Yet somehow he still earned $18 million for this series. Not a bad gig. Yeah, I know, right? Anyways, Bellatrix screams and then tells everyone to drop their wands because she's got a bloody knife to Hermo's neck, doesn't she? So she's stepping up from torture to murder. Yeah, mate. And honestly, it's about time we saw a Death Eater actually do something dangerous, because up until this point, they've honestly done all. Yeah, that's true. So, Hermo and Ronno have to drop their bloody wands, don't they? And then Bellatrix is like, well, go on, Lucius, you posh twat. Call him. Call bloody Voldemort. So Lucius pulls up his sleeve and touches that weird necrophiliac tattoo on his arm. Okay, well, what does that do? Well, I think it like turns on Voldemort's notifications in the Death Eater WhatsApp group, so I guess now he knows that Hazza is at Malfoy Manor. Oh, shit. They're fucked if he rocks up. They haven't even collected all of the bloody Horcruxes yet. Nah, mate, because they've been on a bloody camping trip for half the movie and walking around rather than using their bloody brooms. Idiots. Anyways, you won't believe this. Bloody Dobby, the sneaky little has snuck up onto the chandelier and he's singing that catchy song by Sia. What? Oh yeah, I got it. You mean the song Chandelier. Yeah, that's a really niche reference. Yeah, I think the ones who know will know. Anyways, you. So Dobby drops the bloody chandelier onto Bellatrix's head, doesn't he? But wouldn't that just get Hermione too? Yeah, I don't really know what he was thinking actually. Anyways, luckily Hermo manages to jump out of the bloody way, but the distraction gives Ronno enough time to grab Hermo, and then Hazza snatches Malfoy's wand and tells him to go piss off and sit on a greasy fat one. Got him. So then Bellatrix, she's pissed, right? Because she read her horoscope in the newspaper this morning and it said that everything was going to go her way. So now she's realizing that horoscopes are probably just full of shit. I mean, I knew that at like 8 years old, but I'm glad she's finally catching on. So then she starts foaming at the mouth, doesn't she? And she's like, how dare you, you weird little Yoda-looking bastard! You could have killed me! Dobby didn't mean to kill, no. Dobby just meant to wound so badly that you would require constant care and assistance for the rest of your life. How the hell is that any better? Well, I guess it isn't. You dare turn against your masters? Dobby has no master. Dobby is a free elf. Slavery was so last century, you Andrew Tate watching bitch. Got her. Right, so then Dobby apparates them away. But Bellatrix, she's so pissed off about that Andrew Tate comment that she throws a bloody knife at them. So what? That's Gonna do f all. Well, the knife only goes into that weird apparition CGI effect, doesn't it? Okay. So then Hazza, he wakes up on a beach and he runs up to Hermione and Ronno and he's like, Hermione, Ron, we're safe. Everyone important is safe. Thank God. F you, Harry Potter. Dobby isn't safe. I've got a bloody knife in my stomach.
Well, he did say that everyone important was safe. What do you want from him?
I'm dying, you ginger twat.
Oh!
Oh, not Dobby. I was just starting to like him. Yeah, I know, it's a bit sad. Even though Dobby was pretty useless in the second film, that escape was pretty badass. But on the plus side, at least Dobby gets a proper death, unlike Hedwig. Ooh. Too soon, mate. It's been 15 years, you dickhead. Anyways, Hazza, he's bloody gutted, isn't he? He didn't want anyone else to die for him, so he starts begging Hermo and Ronno for help. Why don't they just apparate him to a doctor? Look, to be honest, I don't really think they like Dobby very much, because obviously that would be like the first thing you'd think to do, right? Those Anyways, then Luna says to Hazza that they should do that cliche thing people do in movies where they close someone's eyes after they die. I really want to know who started that trend. It's in like every movie. Yeah, me too. It's such a weird meme in films. Anyways, we cut to the next day and Hazza is digging a hole for Dobby's grave, which is really weird because it's such a tiny hole and he's digging in sand, so I have no idea why it's taken him all night to dig that. Does he have a shovel? Yeah. He had a shovel. Yeah, that's just a piss poor effort. So, what happens next? Nothing, mate. Hazza just has a cry on the beach and that's the last time we see him. You're kidding me. That's not the end of the movie, is it? Nah, mate, because then we get a mid-credits scene right before the end credits roll. And that's not really a mid-credits scene, is it? That's just the end of the movie. Oh, look at me. I'm so smart. I finished high school and I didn't get expelled for reckless endangerment. Wait, hang on. What did you do to get expelled? That's between me and my lawyer. Okay, just tell me the last scene, you pelican. All right, well, get ready for this one because this scene is super dark. Literally, you can barely see what's going on. Voldemort smashes into Dumbledore's tomb and then he rips that wand from his cold dead fingers. Oh, shit. So this is the Elder Wand from that story. Yeah, I mean, this movie's done a really shitty job of explaining that, but yes, it's the Elder Wand. Hazza's in trouble now. Old mate Leukemia has an unbeatable wand. They haven't even found all the Horcruxes yet. I know, right? They're more fucked than Riley Reid's asshole. You just had to get one more of those in there, didn't you? That's right, just like Riley Reid. Nice one. Anyways, that's it. Video's over, so, you know, piss off.